Welcome back to another episode. Sorry we missed you last week of the Hot Seat Sheer Therapy podcast. It's Pam here.
Dan here.
Danielle.
And today's episode is inspired by the More Melanin podcast and one of our friends, Natasha, we celebrated her 50th yesterday. And this episode is called It's All in the Details. Denise, take it away if you want to explain a little background on that.
So basically, we went to this amazing party. It was the 50th birthday for our good friend Natasha. And we were just blown away. Like, I think all the wives were blown away by the details of how the party was put together. You know, like her husband took his time and planned everything straight to a T. The mariachi, what do you call it? A mariachi?
Yeah, mariachi band.
A mariachi band walked in. It was 70s theme. The food was great. The music, great positive people.
On time.
On time. On time.
Hold on, Denise, you were on time?
Yeah.
Well, because she came with us.
Yeah. So that's what made me on time. And then there was like a photo booth, and everything was just great. And then even when they were doing like what do you call that thing? The Soul Train dance.
Oh, yes.
They switched on a light where, you know,
disco light.
The disco ball light, every detail. By the end of it, all the wives were like looking at their husbands and saying, hey, you better step your game up.
Yeah, we were.
I wasn't looking at anybody, but you know, if he was there, I'd be looking at him and saying, hey, you better step your game up.
Yeah. And, you know, Dan was going to be there, but she was there in spirit. But yeah, it made us think. So
did you guys pretend to talk to me?
Yeah, we were like, hey, Dan.
I was actually still waiting for you in hopes that you would show up. I actually
at one point, she said to Kevin, like, yep, Dan's about to pull in the driveway. Yeah, she did say that.
Yeah, you're like,
I wanted to be there.
You ghosted me.
No.
You did.
My time management.
I showed up to the restaurant and I waited and you ghosted me.
Yep, she did. But like, so another thing that happened when we walked in, so several times we think to ourselves, like, should we continue this podcast? Like, what's up with the podcast? Because we just wonder, right? Because we live in this world where Instagram is so instant, right? And it tells you, like, you post a picture and you know who likes it, when they comment, what time they comment. And podcasts don't have that. Podcasts are basically like, it's on, you can check your analytics and see how many viewers, downloads, but you don't know who they are. Mm-hmm. So we walked in and we're standing there and this girl says to us, Tish, hey, oh my gosh, this is such a surreal moment. I can't believe, like, I'm looking at the girls from Sheer Therapy. And she's like,
that's sweet.
No. And Danielle thought we were lying. And she said, like, I totally creep you guys. I listen to your podcast. It's so good. Like, what I love about it is you guys are real, straight to the point. You say just raw, real stuff. And you guys inspired me to start my podcast with my girlfriend. And me and Denise were like, oh my God, because literally before we left the house, Denise said she's quitting in December. But like, because you just don't know, but it goes to show, like, the things that you do, you have a cheerleading team in the dark. You just don't see them, you know? And that's why we did this. We were like, honestly, we just want to do the work. And if we can inspire anybody or do anything, like, that's what it is. And a lot of people were like, no, you need to know your financial plan, how you can make money from this. And we were like, well, we don't really care right now. So that just goes to show that we did something. Anyways.
She's like, I care.
We obviously, like, everybody wants to make $1, but we were just like saying, if we head into it with the money-making mentality,
yeah,
we can waver who we are. And even in some of our beginnings and meetings in the beginning, remember, people were like, you need to have a niche, you need to have this focus.
Yeah.
We're just going to talk about everything and see. So
now, you know what? Now, if I can find one person on the street that read my one blog post, I'll be encouraged to go and write more.
Anyway, so shout out to you guys. So this podcast episode is dedicated to you. And if you don't have their podcast either, it's called the More Melanin Podcast. But so back to our thing. Today we're going to talk about It's All in the Details. And who's with me when they just like, sometimes it's the small stuff and the small details that really make the big difference. And I think a lot of people focus on the big things, but it's like, yeah, we could have went to a surprise party, but if all the little elements weren't in there, it wouldn't have been the same day. Like, it just wouldn't. And it's like, girlfriends are pros at this. We pay attention. We know what drinks our friends like, how they take it, 1 sugar, 2 sugar, 1 creamer, what wine they like, if they like stemless or stemmed glass. Like, we know all this. Wow, Dan. We know all of this. Dan just stuck her tongue out if you're not watching on YouTube. And
That we're being watched.
yeah, we are. And they could hear you. And for some reason, and I'm just going to say men, but I'm not saying all men, but for some reason, men have not gotten this down to a science. And I think this is a huge relationship trigger. And it goes to show, because yesterday, everybody was saying, okay, honey, like, go talk to Kevin. If you want details on how to make your woman happy with the party, go talk. Because
Aw.
like, the details were there, right? And yes, like, his 2 daughters helped him, but at the end of the day, like, it was in the details. Like, why don't all of the husbands know what their wife drinks in their tea or their coffee? Why don't they know their bra size? Why don't they know their favorite cookie place? Like, these things are what makes things keep ticking. And when they're
But disclaimer, disclaimer.
yes, go on.
In all fairness, he is technically a relationship expert.
Yes, he is.
He
But
researches.
yes, but there are men out there too who do this. I'm not like saying none of them do.
There is, yeah.
Whatever relationship you're in, whoever you're with, there are people who pay attention to the details. And
For sure.
unfortunately, it's usually more detailed in your friendships than it is in your marriage or your romantic relationship. And it sucks because it causes a lot of problems because, like, for me, I'm very big on small details. Like, I don't need a Gucci purse, but I would love if you knew what my order was and maybe dropped it off one day in the morning and just said, oh, just grab this for you, like something really small gestures. Like today before church, Denise called me and she was like, oh, I was in Starbucks, wanted to know if you needed a drink. But like, those are small little details that a lot of relationships lack. And I don't know why, but those things are huge. Denise?
I feel like for men, they don't have to learn about the small details because it's not do or die to them. There's no end result if you don't learn it. They still kind of, the day still keeps going. They still get what they want. The day just keeps going. There's no consequence. There's no end result. So
Comfort level? Is there like a comfort level?
Yeah, like you get into like repetitive daily routines and you just get comfortable and you forget. It's kind of like some marriages will just say, well, you know what? We already know why we're here. We're here for so long. It's like, we don't really need to try anything.
Right. Like he knows if he doesn't get the Starbucks order every morning, like you're not going to divorce him for that. And so fuck it.
You don't have to.
I don't care.
You don't have to.
But it's like, but why do those things get taken down? Like after a while, I think you just you can't coast anymore. Like what did I say to you last week? Like, we're here to thrive, not survive. Like people get hit. Okay, not to make this morbid, okay, but people like get up to go drop their friends home like I did today.
Yeah.
And you don't make it home because something happened on the highway. Or we had a friend a couple years ago, their husband was eating lunch at work, regular day, and he choked and he didn't come home that day. Like, there's so many random things that happen where it's like, why should you just survive? Right? Like, you should just live to the fullest. So it's like, why have a mediocre date when it could be extraordinary? And it doesn't have to be like you went to the Ritz-Carlton and then you went to like some fancy steakhouse, but it's just like when you're dating a person, you will research their restaurant. Okay, so I don't know if it's TMI, but I have a family member in a new relationship and the details are ridiculous. And the gifts out of nowhere for no reason are like out of this world. We all know who we're talking about, but we're just going to keep it private for the
Is it the
podcast.
honeymoon phase though, or you think this is here to stay?
It is the honeymoon phase and it could be here to stay. I know many people in
I don't
marriages.
even know who you're talking about. Oh,
I just whispered it, you guys can't see. But like,
I already know, I think.
but it's like it could be honeymoon or this could be forever. But
Mhm.
why does the honeymoon phase end? Like you want to get a person so bad, right? And you want to keep them and you want to show them that you're amazing. But then somehow once you keep them, it's like, okay, great, now I can be myself.
Mhm.
Or like, what is it? Or were you trying to be somebody you weren't to get them? Because when you are dating, you take a person to restaurants that you know that they like, and
Mhm.
you go to movies that they like, or like you plan time to see them, and then you speak very nicely and you bring them flowers, and you like, you open the door, and then you live together for like over a year and those things dwindle, and then you add kids to the mix and those things really dwindle because now the woman takes on all these extra responsibilities. And again, I'm not gonna like stereotype, but then sometimes the man feels like, oh, but what about me? I'm neglected. But kids take a lot of work. So then it's like, instead of the other person or whatever, both people trying to still make and create that like honeymoon phase, it dwindles off. And again, typical scenarios, and the woman's too tired, this guy gives up, and disaster happens.
So that might be one of the answers though. Like a lot of people who are still paying attention to the detail don't have all those life pressures in the mix yet. They don't have the kids, they don't have all the bills, they don't have all this. That's one part of it. And then the middle part is all the couples who are in the throes of life, stress, juggling everything, right? And then the next stage of couples who are attending to detail are empty nesters again, or they've been together 20 years. They've worked out that shit before. Now they're on to this next stage. Like maybe the answer is a lot of the couples lacking this are in that middle part of life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're no longer dating with no responsibility, but you're not there yet where your kids are grown, you have more time for each other, you've done the career, you've gone through your 20 years of marriage bullshit, now you're on the other side, right? Like it could be you're in that middle part.
So this is just a typical season. Like it's the norm. It's
I wouldn't say it should be the norm. I'm just trying to guess, like make my own theory. Like it seems it's a lot of the couples in the throes of life, right? Like you're in the midst of that part of life where everything's turning. So
Yeah.
it's really hard to focus on one person, right? When you have like your kids, the bills, your businesses, your this, your that. And then it's like, oh shit, like I don't even know what color she likes anymore because I'm just like, trying to maintain every day. So I don't think it should be the norm. Like, I don't think people should be complacent and be like, oh, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
That's just my theory. Like, I'm thinking that's how it is.
So
from what I see.
Yeah, maybe. But do you think also it could be like men are just wired and programmed to the point where their brain only stops at the hunter phase and the other brain doesn't have any more data, like it only stops at hunt, catch, and that's it. Hunt, catch, kill, and we're done. That's it.
Maybe.
I mean, it is a rare breed to see a man that's like on point with everything from beginning to end of a relationship.
But there are men there.
There
they
definitely
do exist.
But
So
they do the work. They're the ones who are like,
they had to be taught.
They're all about self-improvement 24/7 with their life.
Which is something that's very more typical from a woman, right? Like reading, talking, and then I think
Exactly.
culturally. But what separates those men from the men that don't? Like, what happens? Because typically it's usually, oh yes, and then the man and then the woman got busy with the kids, and then this is where the divide happens. But like, how do that small percentage, because if you put it into a working scenario, right, you get a job and you climb the corporate ladder, and now you're like the executive something, you've had to take on more work, but you keep getting promoted, right? Because you
Yeah.
kept doing, okay, yep, I can handle it, I'm going to show my boss so I can get that work, blah blah. You've stayed there, you never crashed and burned, but you can do it for the paycheck, you're still getting extra stress. Like, you can't climb that ladder and your workload becomes less, but you do it because you need to get the paycheck to pay your bills.
Yeah.
So maybe it's that the reward is not seen as anything that's life or death, right? Like, not getting paid for this. And it's kind of like, yeah, but I know I have job security, I'm in the union, so like I don't need to show up to work, like it's fine, because even if they try to let me go, they're gonna have to package me out for life. So I feel like that's a wife or a marriage, like, oh, but
Yeah.
I'm in the union, like I signed the paper, so like
Exactly.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Denise, like you said, once they're in it, they're like, oh, well, like we both know why we're in this and no one's going anywhere. So like,
He ends up going anywhere.
although I mean, I think people should still care, because if your partner's happy, your life is happier and your just overall your relationship is happier. Like, you should want better for your relationship anyway, because usually if you have a happy partner, that trickles into like you being happy as well.
Yeah.
So I just think overall people are complacent with their life. They just get caught up so much in everything. And these days we have so many distractions. Like the generation before us didn't have flinking social media to come home after work and sit and ignore their partner all evening. Like, they had to be present. Hey, I'm going to fix the stove, mow the lawn. We're going to sit down and have dinner together. Like, everyone has so many distractions now. How can you focus on your partner when it's like 29 million FOMO things happening on social media?
I also think that people depend on the other person to fulfill their needs and happiness, where it's like, how do I say? Like, okay, so for example, you express your needs, and these are the things that I want from you, because like I always say, I don't need somebody. Like, I want you, and I want you
Yeah.
to want me. I don't want you to need me. Like, you only need yourself and God and water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, if you're content in yourself, then you should be able to be a bright light to everybody around you. But if you're not, then something must be wrong. Or like, if you're one way with one group of people and another with another, but it's like, it has to be somebody who's like 100. So like, one person can't be putting so much and the other person's not, but like, oh, but I need you to do this, or I need you to do that so that I can, like, it's I think that, again, and I'm speaking only for myself because I only know the woman I am and I only know what I hear, but I think it's just because women, we have a problem, we're fixers, like we need to make everybody happy. So it's like, okay, you don't think I cook enough? Okay, let me try to take a cooking class, learn a new recipe. Let me see what you want to eat. Like me, I can't get curry right for the life of me. And I'm constantly like, okay, how can I get the curry right? But it's like, I think in some other categories, men, oh, well, I guess I can't cook curry, so I'll just order it. Or we're just not eating curry. Where it's like, yeah, like, if you're constantly looking for a way to fix or better a situation and it doesn't look the same on the other side, then it's like you grow bitterness and whatever. And then like, how can you? How can you? Like, it's details, the small details. So I don't know. I think it could be either you're wired differently, but maybe the percentage of men out there who've got this down to a science should actually teach men, have a course. If you're out there and you want
They
us to
should.
put together some sort of foundation where we make tours, we're open. But
But you're right. I think
take
it is
work.
wired differently too, right? Like everyone has just different upbringings and life experiences. So it's kind of like some guys just wouldn't know to even
It'll be like pulling teeth. When
just
you
not
set
in
up the
there.
course,
It's
even
not
for some.
programmed.
Yeah, even for some, when you set up the course and it's right there, it's like pulling teeth to get them actually registered into the course.
And if they don't get the instant reaction that they're looking for, like, oh my gosh, but I did everything you asked today, and you're not completely happy, I'm
or you
over
can't
it.
go, or if you put them in the course, then they create the story in their mind. The story, you're telling me,
Put them
you're
in
now
the
telling me I'm
course.
flawed. You're
Yeah,
telling me
yeah.
there's something wrong with me. So then it's hitting their insecurities, which then it hits the deep layers and then going
Yeah.
back to their childhood and their upbringing. It's like, Jesus Christ. Like,
Yeah.
honestly,
Yeah.
it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, I remember like a long time ago, I went to this landmark course, and I went because I wanted Kevin to take it. And so we're there, and he's like, oh yeah, everyone wants me to take it. And then they looked at me and they're like, well, why are you here? And I'm like, oh, I'm just here for them. And then it was basically like, no, you take it first and then I see. And I was like, okay, fine. I took the course. Like, and I think again, that's something that women are easy to do. Like, we're constantly looking for ways to be better, myself anyways, and most women that I know. Like, how can I better this? How can I better this situation? How can I better the home? How can I better my hair? How can I better my nails? Like, you're
That's why
always
we're
looking.
called the opposite sex, because we're complete opposites. Oh,
Yeah. But again, how does that work in a whole lifetime of a dynamic if you're so opposite? And that's the magic
become a
question.
So do you
lesbian.
think the attention to
I'm
detail,
lesbian.
the attention to detail occurs because in the beginning when you marry, you're young. So your expectations and are pretty low because you're young and it's new and
Maybe.
fresh. So now that you've grown and you've like excelled,
Or when you're young, you're show offy.
maybe
Like you will do sky's the limit because you're trying to prove something
Yeah.
for your, you know,
I
your
don't know.
image.
Well, like imagine being in a relationship that's ego led versus one that is not.
Yeah.
Like imagine what you picked at 26 versus what you'd pick at 40.
Yeah, like what I picked. Look, I tell it to everybody.
Here we go.
Everybody, what I picked at 21 is not something I'd be picking
Oh, here comes the wine.
Here, Denise.
at 39 or 40. Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's not happening.
I wouldn't pick the same car, hair color.
So then
clothing.
therefore it's like your attention to detail never mattered in the beginning because you were a different person, and now as you grow and you elevate in your life, you become a different person, and then the attention to detail becomes a priority. So it's kind of like maybe you need multiple people. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe you need multiple people.
Everyone gives a deposit of something that we're looking for.
All right, I'm taking orders right now. I'm taking a list of people to line up and submit an application. I need 5. I need 5.
Help us. Homes.
Spiritual, emotional, mental, physical. Yeah.
We could do without a lot of the physical.
One for mental, one for emotional, spiritual, physical, financial.
Eating. One for eating with. Don't forget eating. I like to eat.
Eating out for nice dinners.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Nice Chick-fil-A, whatever, as long as there's food. Grocery store.
I've never had Chick-fil-A still.
So attention to detail. What does this mean? Like,
So yeah, it's all in the details.
the details
So our
matter.
takeaways are a good man needs to make a good man course to build other good men. Denise is taking applications for 5 good men. Pam needs details.
Yeah, I do. I really love
She's fading away right now, daydreaming to all the details of what could be.
Oh God.
Her drive home is going to be all the details.
I'm going to listen to Adele's new song the whole way home. I was just a child.
Hans gives you attention to
Didn't
detail.
have the chance.
Hans.
And I just drink my wine and everything in life feels good.
This is what you look like when you're heading towards the end of your 30s and the beginning of your 40s. This is what life is like, honey. Take a seat.
We were just a child. Yeah.
And on that note,
Yeah.
before
right,
things
well.
take a turn, that
You know what I think on that note, what you need to do is not depend on somebody else providing you with the attention to details, but you know what? Treat yourself to your attention to detail.
Oh no, that gives you problems too, because then you're too independent and you have too much of your own life, and then people wonder why. I'm just talking from other people. This is not about me. I'm just saying for a friend.
no matter what you do, you lose. So you know
Damned
what?
if you do.
Pick which loss. Where do you want to be the loser is where you need to pick.
Even Sandy knows, right, Sandy? Go easy on me,
All this to say,
baby.
we love men. We love you so much.
Yeah.
What is it?
Shout out to Natasha again. Happy 50th. I hope you heard this podcast episode and your husband. Anyways, we gotta go.
We've reached the end of the rope here.
I need to leave Kalendon. All right. Well, happy Monday. Enjoy your work day after this or after whenever you listen. I don't know, whenever it's Sunday.
Okay.
Right?
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.